Hi, I'm Laura, and this is tropetrinitytrilogy. Today, I'll be doing the Easter book tag. This tag was created by Rosie the Reader, whose original video I will link down below. So if you're wondering why my hand is covered in paint, that is because I just spent 4 hours face painting at an Easter egg hunt for 4-H at a farm near where I live. Getting your face painted as a rabbit was very popular today for obvious reasons. However, the second most popular was a cat for less obvious reasons, except for the fact that cats are adorable. Though there were some more unique choices in face painting, several of those being Iron Man, a flaming baseball, and a bear with sunglasses. Now back to the Easter book tag. Number 1. Rabbits. A book that you wish would multiply, aka have a sequel. Personally, I more often get tired of books adding too many in a series than I do wishing there were more in a series. However, one book I wish there was a sequel to is The Princess Curse by Mary Haskell. Now, I got this book at the library a while ago, so I do not have it here to show off to you today. So I will show a quick image of it and then move to the next question. Number 2. Egg. A book that surprised you. For this question, I will pick Allegiance by Veronica Roth. Now, if you haven't read this book, don't worry because I will not spoil it. However, if you have read this, yes, it is what you're thinking about. That was what surprised me. I just didn't expect it so much that when it did happen, I didn't realize it did. I was just reading along being like, oh, I wonder what that means. And then kept reading. And then eventually I was wait a moment. Wait a second. Is that what happened? And yes, it was what happened. So it was so surprising that my brain could not comprehend it. However, unlike a lot of people I've talked to, I'm glad that it happened. I thought it tied in really well with what happened in the first book. So, unpopular opinion, along with shocking book. Number 3. The Hunt. A book that was hard to get your hands on. Most of the books I get, I either go to the library or less often a bookstore, glance along the shelf, and randomly pick them based on the description on the back. So usually I'm not searching for books. Then when I am trying to get a specific book, I usually get it as a present, so I don't actually have to hunt for it. However, I remember when I first read Grave Mercy by Robin Lefevre's at the library, I liked it so much that I was like, I have to own this. I own books I like less than this because I got gift cards to Barnes & Noble and I just randomly picked the book off the shelf. But I had to own this one because it was one of my favorites. So I bought it in paperback and the sequels were not available in paperback. So I had to wait for Dark Triumph and Mortal Heart. So I had to order them at Barnes & Noble and wait for them to come in paperback, which was a couple months later. Actually, my sister ordered them because she got me them for a birthday present. So I didn't actually do any hunting. Moving on, number 4. Lambs. A children's book that you still enjoy. So that book for me would be The Mixed Up Files of Mrs. Basil E. Frankweiler by E.L. Konigsberg. I can pronounce things. Woo! This book is about Claudia, who runs away with her younger brother, Jamie, but she's not into the whole camping and outdoors and living it rough. So instead, she's like, hey, let's run away to this fancy art museum and we'll live life large. However, by doing this, they end up in the middle of a headline-making mystery. Obviously, they have to get involved. I remember reading when I was younger and I really enjoyed it. However, I don't actually remember the mystery, so I could probably reread it and get the mystery value out of it again. Maybe I will. Subject 5. Spring, a book cover that makes you think of spring. So after looking at a lot of my book covers, I realized most of them are pretty dark and doom and gloom. However, I was able to find one, which is the first book in the Warrior series, Into the Wild by Aaron Hunter, which it has grass and trees that are foliage, so it's not winter or fall because they're green foliage. I know it's not the most spring thing, but at least it has an adorable kitty. And good enough. Besides, I really like this book, so any excuse to plug it in a video is a good excuse. Number 6. Jesus. A religious or spiritual book that you love. Unless the Bible counts, I got nothing, because to be completely honest, I don't really read that many religious books. However, if I'm going for any religious piece of fiction, I would pick the cartoon Prince of Egypt by DreamWorks, which is a musical retelling of Exodus, and it is wonderful. However, I will say, I notice in a lot of books I read, there is really no religion at all. However, when it usually is mentioned, it's usually the character just saying they aren't religious. And that's perfectly fine. However, I do take notice when a book has the opposite, where a character actually is religious and it's not some fictional religion. And one book I thought did it well and had an interesting discussion about it was the Divergent Trilogy by Veronica Roth. Now, obviously, you don't have to be religious to read this, and it's a fairly small part of the books. However, throughout the entire series, Trish struggles with her own beliefs in the midst of chaos and tragedy. And I really enjoyed how it was done, and I thought it had a great message of forgiveness in the books. So, if I had to pick a book that handled religion that wasn't a religious text, I picked Divergent because I thought it did an interesting job, and you obviously do not have to be religious to appreciate these books. Subject 7. Rising from the Dead, a book from a deceased author. Well, that's depressing. The book I'm picking is The Cat in the Hat by Dr. Seuss. You will be missed. Subject 8. Baskets. I weave these with my grandma. A book that is currently on your Amazon wish list. I know my grandma's talented. No need to be so jealous. Currently on my wish list is the full works of H.P. Lovecraft. Happy, right? It's on my list because I'm really interested in his type of horror. And to be completely honest, I find most horror kind of dull. A lot of it relies on jump scares. And I'm very interested in seeing the type of horror that makes the human race feel very insignificant and keeps you up at night thinking things. Subject 9. Candy. I don't actually have any candy, but here's an empty wrapper of the candy that my family ate, along with my hopes and dreams. A book that you liked that's sweet. To be honest, I tend to prefer dark, violent, and depressing books. I swear I'm fun at parties. However, there is one sweet book that I really like, and that is The Goose Girl by Shannon Hale, which is a fairy tale retelling of the fairy tale by the same name. And I have to say, it might be my favorite fairy tale retelling I've ever read. Subject 10. Peeps. Tag someone. Now, I'm actually not gonna tag anyone, partially because this video is coming out after Easter, and number 2 is because I'm socially awkward and don't want people to reject my tag. However, if you want to do this tag, or put some comments down below of what you would have put for some of the answers, feel free to consider yourself tagged. So that's all the questions. I hope you had a great Easter, and I'll see you later.